Okay, so we are now recording our discussion. So for today, no, we would start our second quarter topic, and our first topic in second quarter will be hydrometeorological hazards. So we will have hydrometeorological hazards, and obviously from the name itself, hydrometeorological hazard, ibig sabihin nito, these are hazards class brought to us by the interaction class of our atmosphere and hydrosphere. No? Atmosphere hydrosphere interaction, and this atmosphere hydrosphere interaction class can bring us hazards. No? It can actually bring us hazard at tinatawag natin hazard na to that is due to atmospheric and hydrosphere interaction as your hydrometeorological hazard. Ang maganda class sa hydrometeorological hazard, no, compared sa mga geologic hazard, mas madali silang i-detect, saka mas madali silang i-forecast. Meron na kasi tayo class mga tools, no? Meron na tayong mga sophisticated tools, no? That will enable us to detect and forecast this kind of hazard. Kaya mas madali silang i-mitigate compared sa mga geologic hazards na discuss natin in the first quarter. So these hydrometeorologic hazards are easier to mitigate compared to your geologic hazards. Okay. So let's begin with the most prominent hazard, no, that your hydrosphere and atmosphere interaction can bring to us, which is your hurricane. Ito, yung hurricane class, obviously, no, the most common among all, no, among all hydrometeorologic hazards. Now, class, may question ako. Hindi nalilipat yung screen ko. Bakit kaya? Okay, ayun. No? Yung hurricane, no? Actually, itong hurricane class, tinatawag niyo rin siyang cyclone or typhoon. Pare-pareho lang yung class na they are just the same. Hurricane, cyclone, and typhoon are just the same things. No? Yun nga lang, meron silang iba't ibang name, depende kung saan sila na-form. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na sa typhoon basin, meron tayong tinatawag na hurricane basin, saka meron tayong tinatawag na cyclone basin. So technically, yung name nila magdedepende kung saan sila nabuo. No? Magiging hurricane siya kung nabuo siya sa hurricane basin, magiging typhoon siya kung nabuo siya sa typhoon basin, magiging cyclone naman siya kung nabuo siya sa cyclone basin. So, for you to have an idea what I'm talking about, kindly look at this one. So, ayan, if you're looking at this, these are the different basins, no, for hurricane, typhoon, and cyclone. So, kung titignan niyo yung quadrant nito, makikita niyo na pag sa northeast, no, pag sa northeast na buo, we have typhoon. Pag sa northwest na buo, no, yung low pressure condition mo, we have hurricane. Pag sa south naman, we have cyclone. So yan. Kasi this is the typhoon basin, the hurricane basin, and this is the cyclone basin. So it would depend saan siya na-form. So kung magiging typhoon siya, that would be found on northeast, no? Pag nasa northeastern siya nabuo sa typhoon basin, it will be called as typhoon. Pag nabuo siya sa southwest, no, sa hurricane basin, it will be called, of course, hurricane. At pag nabuo siya sa south, it will be called as cyclone. Sige nga, class, yung Philippines kaya, yung nagla-landfall sa atin na low pressure area, ano kaya yun? Typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone?
Typhoon.
It's typhoon. So meaning it formed where northeastern basin, nabuo siya sa northeastern basin, sa typhoon basin. That's why it's called typhoon. So do not be confused with these terminologies. Hindi yan magkakaiba. They are just the same things. Yun nga lang, the difference is magkakaiba sila ng location where did they form. But the question is, ano ba tong typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane na to? So if you're going to look at this is a very complex definition of a hurricane. Pero do not worry, later on, we will dissect this definition one by one. Ano bang ibig sabihin, class, ng bawat portion ng definition na yan so that you will understand what really a hurricane, a typhoon, or a cyclone is as a weather disturbance. No? So when we're speaking of cyclone, yun nga, it's a warm core. Later on makikita niyo anong ibig sabihin na meron siyang warm core. Actually, it has something to do with the eye of the typhoon or the cyclone or the hurricane. It's a warm core, low pressure system with or without front attached, no, that develops over tropical or subtropical waters and has an organized circulation with winds of at least 120 kilometers per hour. So yan yung general definition ng typhoon natin. So let us dissect that one by one. Do not worry. You will see that in details later on. So bigyan ko muna kayong general definition. So technically, pag sinasabi yung typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone, it's just a low pressure area. Low pressure area siya, kung saan sa low pressure area na to, meron kayong warm core, meaning yung gitna niya, it's a stable core at the middle, a low pressure area with a stable core at the middle, and usually class D form at tropical or subtropical regions. Okay, the prominent thing here is that in order for a typhoon, a hurricane, or cyclone to be uh, typhoon, a hurricane, or cyclone, no, kailangan meron siyang organized circulation of wind. And dapat yung organized circulation of wind na yon, ang wind speed niya is umaabot ng 120 km per hour. The thing is, no, marami tayong ibang weather disturbances kung saan may air circulation or wind circulation tatawag. Pero sometimes it doesn't reach 120 km per hour. And if that's the case, no, no hindi aabot sa 120 km per hour yung wind speed, no, yung circulating wind speed, meaning ng class, this is not yet a typhoon. Instead, probably it would develop later on into a typhoon or worse, no, it would dissipate na hindi siya magiging typhoon. So para maging typhoon, yung circulating wind nyo dapat, it must have a wind speed of 120 km per hour. And take note also, no, ang typhoon pwede siyang walang front or may front. No? Pag wala siyang front, if there's no front, tinatawag siyang extratropical cyclone or the nor'easters. Sorry, baliktad. Pag may front, not no front. No? Pag may front yung cyclone, typhoon, or hurricane, again pag may front, tinatawag siya nor'easters. No? That's what you call as nor'easters. And this nor'easters class, itong mga nor'easters na to, tinatawag na silang extratropical cyclone. They are also called as extratropical cyclone. Meaning ito yung mga cyclone na wala sa tropical and subtropical regions. No? So the thing is, tatandaan ninyo, ang cyclone, ang hurricane or typhoon, lagi sila nabubuo dito sa tropical, dito sa tropical or subtropical region. Dito lang sila lagi na-form. Pero sometimes umaabot sila dito sa mga area na hindi nakikita sa tropical or subtropical region. The thing is, bakit? Bakit sila umaabot doon? Sometimes kasi, yung dying typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane, pwedeng mag-attach doon yung tatawag nating fronts. At pag nag-attach doon yung fronts, nagiging extratropical cyclone sila, yung tatawag nating nor'easters. So technically, here in the tropical region, no, here in the tropics and the subtropics, mag-expect tayo na meron talaga dyan typhoons, hurricanes, and cyclones. Pero dito, beyond the tropical and subtropical region, hindi na typhoons ang experience nila, hindi na cyclone, hindi na hurricane. It's actually what? It's actually your nor'easters or the extratropical cyclone. Meaning, ito yung mga typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane na may nag-attach na front. There is already cyclone or typhoon or hurricane na nag-attach na yung front, kaya class na reform yung typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane natin. Kasi usually, mamamatay na dapat sila, class, after passing the tropical, subtropical region, it must dissipate. Pero sometimes kasi pwedeng mag-attach yung tinatawag ng fronts, and pag nag-attach, class, later on, I will discuss that now. Do not worry. Pag nag-attach class at tatawag niyang fronts, pwede ulit siya mag-develop into a new typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane. Pero this time, it will be called as a nor'easters or the extratropical cyclone, meaning may attach na siyang fronts. There is already attachment of fronts. And class, that is your general definition of a typhoon or a hurricane or a cyclone. So if you would observe, no, napaka-complex na definition na binigay ko. And do not worry, we will examine that definition. Okay, we will start examining that definition. Ano bang ibig sabihin nung binigay ko sa inyo yung definition about your hurricane, typhoon, and cyclone. So in order to understand really the definition of a cyclone, a typhoon, or a hurricane, we need first to determine ano ba yung mga kailangan natin para makabuo ng typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone. So ito tatandaan nyo, in order to form hurricane, typhoon, or cyclone, kailangan nyo ng warm water. No? This warm water must reach 26.5 degrees Celsius. Sige nga, from this, tignan nyo, sabi natin, kailangan natin ng warm waters. We will be needing warm waters to form a hurricane, cyclone, or typhoon. Palagay nyo, anong season na bubuo yung hurricane, typhoon, or cyclone based from this? Kung kailangan nila mabuo in warm waters. Any idea? Bon. Okay, David.
Sir, cold season po.
Again, David.
Cold season ba tawag doon? Yung kasi yung mas kanyang land, mas warm yung sa land kaysa sa akin.
Okay, actually you're talking about monsoon to be exact. Monsoon yun eh. Pero tingnan mo, David, sabi dito, in order to form a typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane, you will be needing warm water. So, kailan yun? Kailan nagiging warm yung water mo?
Hindi ako limutan yung term.
Anong season? David, kailan pa warm yung water? Ano? Ano, David?
Winter season. Hindi. Ano ba?
Winter, edi malamig yun, David. Yun na lang mo. Sabi ko, warm water. When will be the water?
Kasi sir, ang edi yung rain.
Summer. Di ba? Mainit yung water pag summer. So, technically, during summer, no? Di ba? During summer or early fall, doon na-form yung mga cyclone, hurricane, or typhoon. It should be in warm water. So, kung gano'n, if that's the case, no, kung mabubuo yung typhoon, hurricane, at cyclone ninyo in warm water, it must be required na mabuo sila during summer or early fall. So, yun yung mga times no, where we form our typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone. Okay, for a while, class. So, ayan, class. Tulad ng sabi ko sa inyo, it must form in warm water, no? And so if you're going to look at this SST, no, tawag dito is sea surface temperature map, if you would observe, no, during summer and early fall, ito yung regions ng tropical and subtropical. And if you would compare it to other areas, relatively, class in tropical and subtropical region niya because it receives direct sunlight from the sun, mas mataas ang temperature niya kumpara sa other area ng ocean. Okay, nakita class, no? We will be needing warm water. Kakailanganin natin ng warm water class in order to form cyclone, typhoon, or hurricane. Now, the next thing that we will be needing class in order to form cyclone, typhoon, or hurricane, kakailanganin natin ng Coriolis force. We will be needing Coriolis force, and itong Coriolis force na to, it is actually formed class in 5 degrees to 20 degrees latitude. That is why class, sabi nga sa inyo, itong mga typhoon or cyclone or hurricane, no, kailangan nilang mabuo sa tropical and subtropical regions. Sige nga class, can you recall your basic geography? Saan ba nakikita yung tropical and subtropical regions? At what latitudes? Can you recall? At what latitudes, class? So nakikita yung tropical and subtropical region, it is at what latitudes?
80.
80? Tropical and subtropical na. It's found where? 0 degrees north to 30 degrees, di ba? Yeah, 30 degrees. So, itong mga tropical and subtropical region class, nakikita nyo yan from 0 degrees to 30 degrees north and south. No? Ito yun technically. So, ito yun. From 0 to 30 degrees north and 0 to 30 degrees south, this is your tropical or subtropical region. And this tropical and subtropical region class, ito yung area class kung saan nakakabuo tayo ng tinatawag na Coriolis force. And later on, you will see how important is this Coriolis force in forming typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane. Napakahalaga. Yun ang Coriolis force na to form typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone. Okay. Let me show you picture. I don't have picture eh. Eto class, tignan nyo. Just to give you an idea, no, anong nagagawa ng ano natin, anong nagagawa ng Coriolis force natin. Ito, no, so if this is the wind direction without Coriolis force, pag nagkataon ng Coriolis force, it will be transformed into either clockwise, no, or counterclockwise. So yan yun. Okay, class. The last thing no that we will be needing in order to form typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone, kailangan nating class ng tinatawag nating converging winds. No? We will be needing what we call class as converging winds. For a while class ha? Okay. Okay. So, ano ba tong converging winds na to? What does this converging winds mean? Okay, so let us review class yung mga ano nyo. Let us review class yung mga prevailing winds na tinatawag ninyo when you are in grade 9 yata and grade 6 inaral itong tinatawag natin prevailing winds. So, if you are going to look at this, no, titignan natin, pwede natin i-divide yung atmospheric circulation sa tatlo, no? So, meron tayong atmospheric circulation from 0 to 30 degrees latitude. Meron tayong atmospheric circulation from 30 to 60 degrees latitude. At meron tayong atmospheric circulation from 60 degrees to 90 degrees latitude. So, let me write it. So, we have an atmospheric circulation of 0 to 30 degrees, 60 to 90, 0 to 30 degrees, 30 to 60 degrees, and 60 to 90 degrees. Ang tawag natin class sa atmospheric circulation from 0 degrees to 30 degrees, tatawagin yung class as Hadley cell. Again, we will call it as Hadley cell. So at 0 to 30 degrees, ang tawag natin class sa atmospheric circulation natin, that will be called as the Hadley cell. From 31 class to 60 degrees, tatawagin natin yung atmospheric circulation as your Ferrel cell. And from 61 to 90 degrees, tatawagin natin atmospheric circulation as your polar cell. So these are the three atmospheric circulation. Now the thing is, itong mga atmospheric circulation na to, it can actually form what we call as prevailing wind. So itong mga cell, these are just atmospheric circulation. At class, itong mga atmospheric circulation na to, it can produce what we call class as prevailing winds. Tignan nyo to, tulad nito. Kung Hadley cell at the surface, kaya niya mag-produce ng wind that is directed northeast, no? Punta siya sa northeast. So, we will call this sa Hadley cell, no? Hadley cell, meron tayong tatawag na papunta sa east, no? Papunta sa east yung ano natin, yung surface wind natin due to Hadley cell. No, it's going to east. That is why we call it a southeastern and northeastern trade. So northeastern trade winds, no, sa north latitudes, and southeastern trade winds plus, it's blowing to west coming from the east. Let me correct myself. No? So ulitin ko unahin natin sa Hadley cell. Let us take first in your Hadley cell. So if you are going to look at this Hadley cell, no, yung surface wind niya dito, it is blowing from east to west. So meaning, ang source point ng surface wind na to is coming from the east. That is why, no, sa north, dahil ang source point nyo is from the east, natawag siya sa north na northeastern trade winds, tapos sa south, natawag siya sa southeastern trade winds. So technically, ang Hadley cells nyo, no, ang Hadley cells nyo, nakakaproduce ng prevailing winds sa tatawag na trade winds. So your Hadley cell class is able to produce what we call class as trade winds. At tulad nga ng sabi ko sa inyo, ang trade winds class, ang point source niya is coming from east, blowing to west. Kaya class, dahil ang point source niya is east, ang tatawagin nyo class sa trade winds na nasa north latitude, we will call them as the northeastern trade winds. No? We will call them as a northeastern trade winds kasi ang point source niya is from the east. That is why eastern and nasa north latitude, northeastern trade winds yung tawag sa kanya. And if it is found on the southern latitude, tatawagin natin siyang southeastern. We call them as southeastern trade winds. Oh, yan naman yung nasa south. So ayan, in this case, for Hadley cell, since point source ng pre, ang point source ng surface wind more, prevailing wind more would be east. No? Sa north latitude, we will be calling it as northeastern trade winds. At sa south naman, we will calling it as the southeastern trade winds. Now, let's go to Ferrel cell. So if you would look at the Ferrel cell, ito yung Ferrel cell natin. No? So sa Ferrel cell, kung titignan mo, ito yung na-form na wind niya sa surface, yung prevailing wind niya. So the Ferrel cells, no, ang ang surface wind ng Ferrel cells ninyo, class, is tinatawag dating class as your westerlies. Bakit siya tinatawag na westerlies? It is called westerlies kasi ang point source niya is west, blowing to the east. So technically, yung westerlies ninyo, ang point source niya is west. That is why it's called as westerlies. And the thing is about this, no, about this westerlies, sila yung na-form ng Ferrel cell. So technically, the surface wind or the prevailing wind that is found between 30 to 60 degrees will be called as your westerlies, meaning ang point source niya is from the west blowing to the east. And the last thing that we will consider, class, is yung nandito. No, yung nandito sa 60 to 90 degrees latitude and yung surface wind na nabubuo ng tinatawag nating polar cells. So if you would look at here, no, do sa surface wind na nabubuo ng polar cells, no, ang point source niya is east going to west. That is why, kung nabuo ng polar cells, class, kung yung surface wind niya nabuo ng polar cells, tinatawag sila class na easterlies or what we call as the polar easterlies. So yan yung iba't ibang klase ng prevailing winds or surface winds class na nabubuo sa Earth class due to the three atmospheric circulation cells natin like the Hadley cells, no, that forms your trade winds, no, which can be northeastern trade winds in the north and the southeastern trade winds in the south. Now eastern siya kasi it's the point source of the wind, no, or the surface wind. Ang Ferrel cell naman, it forms your westerlies, while your polar cells, it forms your polar easterlies. Now, why is this important, no? Okay, I have to focus here in the northeastern trade winds and southeastern trade winds. Since we will be speaking of hurricane, typhoon and cyclone, I have to focus here in the northeastern trade winds and the southeastern trade winds. Ano napansin nyo sa northeastern trade winds saka southeastern trade winds? Anyone? What did you observe about the northeastern and southeastern trade winds? What happens to them as they blow? Ano nangyayari sa kanila, class? Anyone? Ano napansin niyo sa northeastern saka southeastern trade winds?
Pupunta sila sa equator.
Okay, aside, you're correct, no? So, technically, at the tropical or subtropical region, napapunta yung mga trade winds natin, the northeastern trade winds and the southeastern trade winds. Aside from that, ano nangyari sa equator? Ano nangyari sa kanila? David?
Nag-merge.
Nagko-converge sila, you're correct. Nagkakaroon ng convergence, no? And this converging trade winds is very important, class, in forming your typhoon. Napakahalaga ng converging trade winds na yan, class, because it's the trigger. It's actually the trigger for the formation of typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone. That is why tulad nga ng sabi ko sa inyo, the third important thing, no, that is needed in order to form typhoon would be your converging winds. And now, class, let us begin, no, examining how do typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone form. Paano sila nabubuo? So, una, you need warm water, not less than 26.5 degrees Celsius. So, dapat 26.5 degrees Celsius pataas. So, meaning, class, in order to form typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone, dapat it happens during summer or early fall. So alam mo naman, 'di ba, class, na at this point, no, dahil nga mataas ang temperature ng water, so there is a point of vaporization, class, dito sa mga water dito at this region, class, kung saan mataas ang temperature ng water natin. Now, The thing is, no, hindi sapat na warm water lang. Hindi sapat na meron lang kayong warm water in order to form typhoon. Ang kailangan kasi mangyari, class, kailangan ma-lift yung warm water pataas. So maka-form tayo ng con- condensation. Mangyari kasi if we are not able to lift the water vapor pataas, tingnan nyo dito, dahil warm nga yung water dito at this point, sorry for a while. Okay, then warm water nga, class. Meron tayong warm water tayo dito at this point. No? Nag-evaporate yung water dito. Pero hindi yun sapat to form typhoon. In order to form typhoon, kailangan ma-lift yung water vapor pataas so that mag-undergo siya ng condensation. No, it would reform, class, it would reform into water, class, through the process of condensation. At paano kaya mangyayari yan? How will it happen? It will happen, class, with the use of your prevailing wind. So kung naalala ninyo, class, dito, no, dito sa ating tropical or subtropical region, at this point, no, at this tropical or subtropical region, no, here at the tropical and tropical tropics, no? Yung subtropical and tropics natin or the tropical and subtropical region, mataas ang temperature ng water. Now, the thing is, this high temperature water, class, would have evaporation. Pero, class, in order to form typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone in the basin, kailangan ma-lift yung water pataas. And in order, class, to lift that water upwards, kakailanganin natin, class, ng ating converging winds, no? Dito sa equator or the intertropical convergence zone. So technically dito at this point, no, at this point in the equator, tatawag natin intertropical convergence zone, nagko-converge yung inyong trade winds. Nagko-converge yung northeastern and southeastern trade winds inyo. And the convergence of your northeastern and southeastern trade winds lifts your water vapor. Inaangat nila yung water vapor pataas. So nagkakaroon tayo, class, ng lifting of water vapor due to converging winds. Thus, this converging winds, class, causes the water vapor to rise up. And anong result pag nag-rise up yung water vapor? The result is pag nag-rise up, class, yung water vapor, once na nag-rise up yung water vapor, class, nag-undergo tayo ng condensation where the water vapor, remember water vapor is gas, yung water vapor natin na-transform siya into liquid water. And thus, kung matatransform siya sa liquid water, it will form what we call as clouds. So technically, at this point, nung na-lift yung water vapor nyo paangat, no, nag-condense siya to form cumulonimbus cloud. So ayan, so usually ito, class. So kung makikita nyo dito, may na-form kayo dito ng cumulonimbus cloud. And when we are speaking of cumulonimbus clouds, ito yung mga clouds na may heavy precipitation or nagko-contain siya ng water due to the fact that it formed, class, with high humidity. So technically, high yung water content ng mga clouds na to, yung tinatawag natin cumulonimbus cloud. At paano to na-form? Na-form to kasi nga, nangyari, class, yung water vapor nyo, na-lift up siya pataas due to the prevailing winds. And the lifting of the water vapor upwards causes it to condense to form your cumulonimbus cloud. So pag may cumulonimbus cloud na tayo, tinatawag na siya na depression. It is what we call as, not depression, sorry for that. It will be called as your easterly wave. Ulitin ko pag meron na kayong cumulonimbus cloud, let me repeat myself pag meron na kayong cumulonimbus cloud, meron na kayong tinatawag natin na easterly wave. And class, this easterly wave is actually the first stage in the formation of your typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone. So ito, class, tawag dito is easterly wave. This is just an easterly wave since meron tayong formation of cumulonimbus cloud due to the lifting of the converging winds. So yung converging wind nyo, linit up yung water vapor nyo to form this cumulonimbus cloud through the process of condensation. And pag meron tayong cumulonimbus cloud, meron na tayong tatawag na easterly wave. And later on, this easterly wave can develop. Pero it would depend, no? It would actually depend on the condition. Now, what will happen? So, mangyayari, class, remember na, ano ba ang condensation? Is it an endothermic or exothermic process? Sige nga, class. Ano ba ang condensation? What is condensation, class? Endothermic or exothermic? Anyone? Anong condensation, grade 12? Is it
EXO po.
exo? So, meaning ko exothermic, magre-release siya ng heat, mag-absorb siya ng heat. Dale. kung exothermic ang condensation?
Mag-a-absorb po?
Mag-absorb.
O
Sure ka?
magre-release?
Magre-release. So technically, ang condensation is a process, no? Para mangyari siya, kailangan mag-release ng heat energy. So, sige nga, let's look at this one. So, sabi natin, paano ba nabuo tong clouds na today? How did we form these clouds? Paano mo nabuo tong clouds na to? Anong nangyari?
Condensation po?
Nagkaroon ng condensation, di ba? Nagkaroon ng condensation in order to form these clouds. So meaning, from gas, ano nangyari sa water? From water vapor or gas water, what happened? Gaseous water. Ano nangyari kay water vapor? Naging ano siya? It became
Um,
naging ano siya na? Condensation eh. So from water vapor or from gas, ano nangyari sa water mo? Naging
naging gas po?
gas nga siya, tapos naging gas na. Condensation na. Ano ba nangyari during condensation? Yung water vapor or yung
Naging
gaseous
liquid na siya.
water, naging liquid na siya. No? It became liquid. And tulad na ng sabi ni Dale, nung naging liquid yung water vapor nyo, nakabuo tayo the clouds, diba? And tulad ng sabi ni Dale, yung condensation is an exothermic process. Dahil exothermic process siya, anong mangyayari sa heat energy? Ma-absorb or ma-release? One.
Pero
Ma-release. Technically, ano kaya to? Mainit, malamig sa region na to. Sa region ng clouds, mainit
Malamig
kaya
po.
malamig. Ulitin ko po na, sabi mo, nung nag-condensation yung water, nung naging liquid water, yung water vapor, due to condensation, nakabuka ng clouds. And this is an exothermic process. The exothermic process siya, magre-release ka ng heat. Meaning, ano yung immediate surrounding? Mainit, malamig.
mainit siya.
Mainit. Isipin mo, nag-release ka ng heat energy. Meaning, nung nagpo-form tayo ng clouds, nagre-release tayo ng heat energy. And of course, pag nagre-release ka ng heat energy, we would expect na yung surrounding wind or surrounding environment or surrounding system mo, yung universe mo, tataas yung temperature. So, what do we expect here upon the formation of cloud? This is condensation. Now, nagka-condensation, nag-release ka ng heat energy, thus tumaas yung temperature dito, uminit sa taas. So technically, mas mainit sa area na to, no? This is a hotter area kumpara sa ilalim. And kung mainit tong area na to, no, tignan mo to, class. Sige nga. Bon, may tanong ako, anong mas mabigat? Mainit or malamig na air? What is
Mainit po.
heavier? What is heavier? Hot air or cold air?
Hot
Cold
air.
po.
Okay, Dale, what do you agree with Bon?
Hindi po.
Anong mas mabigat para sa
Mas
iyo?
mabigat po yung malamig.
Oo, actually, okay. So, to make things right, no, boy, mas mabigat yung colder air kumpara sa warmer air. Okay, Bon? So, sige nga, Bon, tingnan natin. So, anong sabi mo dito? Ano nangyari sa temperature ng air natin at this point nung nagka-condensation? Uminit, lumamig, Bon?
Uminit po.
Uminit kasi nga due to condensation na-release yung heat energy, thus uminit sa image sa surrounding air. So technically, at this point, no, mainit yung air dito sa point na to. So in the upper atmosphere, mataas yung temperature, mainit. Pero yung lower atmosphere mo, malamig kumpara sa upper atmosphere mo. Ano kaya magiging resulta? Anong mangyayari sa pressure? Kung biglang iinit yung upper atmosphere, ito uminit to due to exothermic process, uminit yung upper atmosphere. At nung uminit yung upper atmosphere mo, ano kaya nangyari sa pressure niya? Bumaba, tumaas. Bon, let's recall, ano nangyari nung uminit yung temperature? Gumaan or bumigat yung hangin?
Gumaan po.
Gumaan. At dahil gumaan, naging lighter, no, yung upper atmosphere mo, ano nangyari sa pressure? Are you going to form what pressure? High pressure area or low pressure area? Take note, gumaan yung upper atmosphere. So kung ito
Low
yung
po.
lower
Bali low
atmosphere,
siya.
ito yung upper atmosphere dahil uminit siya, bumaba yung mass niya. No, bumaba yung density or mass niya. Nangyari, gumaan gumaan yung upper atmosphere. At sa pagana upper atmosphere, we are able to form a low pressure area. This is when we form what we call as a low pressure area. So meaning class, ang nangyari nung nagkaroon tayo ng condensation, nung na-release yung latent heat of vaporization, no? Ito nating latent heat of vaporization, yung heat para magkaroon ng condensation class, tumaas yung temperature ng upper atmosphere. And the increase in the temperature of the atmosphere causes it to become lighter. Thus nagkaroon tayo ng lesser pressure, no? Ng lesser pressure ng ng upper atmosphere niya sa lower atmosphere niya. Thus, we are able to produce what we call class as a low pressure area. Nakabuo tayo class na tinatawag natin na low pressure area. And this low pressure area is very important kasi class, tatandaan niyo paano ba mag-move ang air? How do we move air? So tatandaan niyo ang tawag class, pag gumagalaw na yung air, the movement of air is called wind. Ha? Ang tawag natin sa movement ng air, tinatawag siya na wind. Let me repeat myself. Ang tawag natin class sa movement ng air, tinatawag natin siyang wind. So tatandaan nyo, ang air ninyo, para gumalaw siya, dapat mag-move siya from higher pressure. No? It must move from higher pressure going to lower pressure. Ulitin ko para mag-move yung air ninyo, para magkaroon kayo ng wind, yung para mag-move yung air nyo or magkaroon tayo ng wind, kailangan yung air nyo mag-move siya from higher pressure going to lower pressure. Do you follow that? Grade 12? Grade 12, do you follow that?
Yes po.
Okay. So sabi natin balik tayo sa scenario na discuss natin. Sabi natin at this point, no, nung nagkaroon tayo ng condensation, medyo naging lighter yung atmosphere natin, yung upper atmosphere natin, and nagkaroon tayo ng low pressure area. Ngayon, the low yung pressure natin dito sa area na to, meron tayong low pressure area na tinatawag. Anong mangyayari sa air? Papasok or lalabas sa region na to? Is it going to enter or exit this region? Sabi nyo, this is a low pressure area. At kung low pressure area to, anong mangyari sa air? Papasok? Is it going inwards or outwards this region? Anyone? Bakit outwards, Carlos?
Kasi mag-move siya, sir.
Sabi natin, paano yung movement ng air? From what region? Sige, from what region? Sige nga, Carlos, anong sabi ko kanina? How does air move? Paano nagkaka-wind? Galing ka sa anong region? Anong pressure ng region na yan? It came from what pressure region, Carlos? Galing sa ang pressure region yan? It must come from what pressure region, Carlos? Class, anong sabi ko kanina?
Higher pressure to lower pressure.
Okay, yung movement ng air is from higher to lower pressure. From higher pressure to lower pressure. Meaning, paano dapat ang movement sa low pressure area na nabuo nyo dito? Papasok yung air, palabas ang air.
Papasok po.
Bakit, David?
Kasi naka-form po tayong low pressure area. Technically, dyan po papasok yung air.
Correct. Diyan mag-enter yung air. The air must flow inward since it is a low pressure area. So there will be an inflow of air. Magkakaroon tayo ng inflow of air due to the formation of the low pressure area. So at this point, no, nung nagkaroon tayo ng easterly wave, later on it will develop into a low pressure area. No, due to the fact na gumaan yung upper atmosphere and due to the fact na it's a low pressure area, mag-flow inward, magkakaroon ng inflow of air, mag-flow inwards yung air. Pero remember class that this is the tropics or the subtropical region. And tulad nga ng sabi ko sa inyo, sa tropical at subtropical region, meron doon tinatawag na Coriolis force. Like exist doon class, yung tatawag natin Coriolis force, and this Coriolis force is actually due to the rotation of the earth. Again, it's actually due to the rotation of the Earth. So, anong result, no? Dahil meron tayong Coriolis force, no? Dahil meron tayong Coriolis force sa tropical and subtropical region, instead na inwards lang yung air, nangyayari, this Coriolis force drives the air instead of going inwards, no, towards a low pressure area. Ang nangyayari, Due to this Coriolis force, it rotates around. Nagro-rotate siya paikot. So if you're in the North Pole, the rotation class is counterclockwise. If you will be in the South Pole, the rotation class of your air will be clockwise. So it would depend also whether if you are in the North Pole or the South Pole. Class for a while, isasaksak ko ng chart. Saglit lang. So yun nga, tulad ng sabi ko, due to this Coriolis force, no, which is present in 0 to 30 degrees or your tropics and subtropical region, no, instead na mag inwards lang yung direction ng air, nangyari nagkakaroon siya ng circulation. Nagiging circular yung motion ng wind natin. And plus, it would depend whether it's in the North Pole or the South Pole. Now, the question is, hurricane na ba to, sir? Is it already a hurricane pag nag-circulate na yung wind? Remember na sinabi ko sa inyo in the definition of a typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane kanina, na ang circulating air nyo must reach 120 kilometers per hour. So technically, pag na-circulate yung air, hindi agad siya typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane. Instead, it's either a tropical depression or a tropical storm. Depende sa bilis, no, ng rotation. So the thing is, hindi agad siya magiging typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone. Kailan siya magiging typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone? Magiging typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone siya pag bumilis pa yung wind speed, yung circulating wind speed natin. No? Pag tumaas yung wind speed niya. At paano tataas yung wind speed? If patuloy magkakaroon ng prevailing winds. This is prevailing winds, diba? And in this case, dahil nga tropical or subtropical region, itong prevailing wind ninyo would be your trade winds. Kung patuloy na mag-blow yung mga prevailing winds ninyo, there is a chance na bumilis class yung rotation saka yung motion ng wind ninyo, no, and the increasing velocity or the increasing wind speed class cause the formation of your typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone. At magiging typhoon, hurricane, or cyclone siya once it reaches 120 kilometers per hour. And that is how you form a typhoon, or a cyclone. Now, before I proceed to the anatomy of your typhoon, cyclone, or hurricane, do you have questions, grade 12? May tanong kayo? Grade 12, may questions?
Wala naman.